to get some analysis on what is happening today. France 24's Angela Diffley is with me here in the studio. And Angela, we'll come to your reaction to those comments in a moment. But first of all, let's talk about what happened with the Prime Minister, Elisabeth Borne. She tendered her resignation, and then Emmanuel Macron said, actually, no, you need to stay in your job. What's your understanding of what happened there?
Yeah, he's been very much criticised for refusing to accept her resignation. But in a sense, it's not surprising. She had no choice but to offer her resignation. A lot of people said she should have done it immediately on Sunday evening. Otherwise, it looks tone deaf. It looks as though the government has understood nothing about the mood of the nation. So she had no choice. That said, it's very difficult for Emmanuel Macron to appoint a new prime minister. He doesn't yet know whose parliamentary votes will be important in the new government, in creating a new government, and therefore in what direction it will head. So it's extremely difficult to choose a head of government under those circumstances. That's what's going to come out of the next few days. That said, also, Emmanuel Macron takes famously ages to choose people, and so it simply isn't very practical to spend a long time choosing another prime minister and possibly have to do it all over again fairly soon. I assume that's the reasoning.
OK, so let's talk about those conversations that the president has been having today with party leaders. Does it look to you that any progress is being made, any chance of a formal coalition, or is this all going to be case by case, bill by bill?
I think a formal coalition is unlikely with any grouping. So there are three key people he will be seeing. If we take Marine Le Pen for the Front National, who were the surprise success of this election, there are some key posts which she will not be looking. They are untouchable politically for Macron's grouping. So he will not be looking for any kind of coalition or anything like that with Emmanuel Macron's Front National. Nevertheless, she will be in their meeting saying what she expects to be delivered. They are now the opposition in that they are the single party with the most votes, so they are the official opposition. And as such, traditionally, they are given certain key posts in government and key positions on committees. So she will be setting out what she expects. If you look then at the NUPES coalition, the grouping that was put together to get all the small left-wing parties and the Greens together so that they would get the votes of anyone who was left inclined in this election. That NUPES grouping is already disintegrating. It's not helped by the fact that Jean-Luc Mélenchon is famously a bit of a one-man band. He does operate rather unilaterally, and he has not endeared himself with the others by making unilateral statements about perhaps we should all be together as one grouping within Parliament. These parties are divided by some very significant issues, notably Europe, NATO, some very, very important issues. It was pretty much a cynical manoeuvre for all of them to keep as many seats as possible. Many left-wing voters recognised it as such. Some will be very disappointed to see that that's all it was, and it doesn't amount to much once the Assemblée Nationale is in motion. But there's nothing very much likely to come out of talks with the NUPES. Les Républicains, what were the mainstream biggest right-wing party before, they have more clout than most of the others. That said, Christian Jacob, and we heard him now saying, we are a party of opposition. He has ruled out any formal coalition with Emmanuel Macron because he thinks it won't benefit his own party. It's possible that that's just a negotiating position. It's possible that it is a reality. It's likely that on a case-by-case basis, they might come to some agreement. And that will translate for the French nation as retirement. They will support them on retirement because economically, the Républicains and Macron's grouping are pretty much aligned. Where there will be differences are on security, law and order, and a perceived threat of growing Islamization, which is perceived on the right within France. They will want stuff to curb that.
Angela Diffley, thank you for your analysis. We'll